Hello, everyone. Welcome to Synergy Assessments. Now we're going to talk about grading and getting the assessment into your gradebook. Um, so, first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Assessment Dashboard, and you have to find it either it's scheduled today and you did it today and you're going to grade it today, or it could be either in your schedule for classes or completed. Um, Once you find whatever assessment it is you want to grade, the easiest thing you can do is you can click on just the blue name of the assessment. You can also go to results analysis. Either one will take you to the same place. When you first click on it, it's going to take you to where you have high, medium, low, far below, just a breakdown of how your kids did, your results, your high school's results, and then the district results if it's a district test, if it's a test that everybody in the district is using. So that's just kind of a breakdown right there, and that's good data to be able to check yourself against the district and everybody else you can. If it's just your results, I mean that may be a little helpful, but um, this is kind of a little more useful to me. But then to see individual results, you will go to the data table. And you can see I have all my kids' individual responses there. Um, Now, what where am I going here? What I would want to do, I'm going to actually take you to a different one. I just want you to see that all your kids will be here. I'm actually going to take you a different one because I want you to see a couple of different scorings here. But you can see all my kids are here. And I can go through left and right and see their what they did and how they did. You can see their grade is right here. This right here is for retakes. But I'm actually going to take you a different one because I want you to see a different all the different scorings you could do. So no, shoot, that wasn't the right one. So this one, you can see only 12 of 40 my students did it, and that's because it was not something I required all students to do. But you can still, even though it was only 12, I still have my breakdown, and there's still district results. Um, so it'll give you all that, even if all your kids don't take it. So now all my kids didn't take it, so you can see they have 0% or not started or 0%. Some of them I made it kind of optional, so some of them might have started and not finished. Um, or you can see the ones that didn't have scores. Um, Now, you can see their name, ID, all that stuff. I'm going to take you through this one I graded. So you can see right here, question one was text entry. That's what TE stands for, text entry. So what happens is in text entry, you can see one had two parts. Now, if I can't remember what question one is, I can come right down here and click on it. Now I can see the question. And now I can see, oh, there's text entry for that, text entry for that. So it's going to have three different parts. So that's why it's question one overall. This is 62.5% of all the kids that did it got it right overall. But since it has three different parts, I can see which part they did worse on. So they did the best on the third part of it, then you can see the scores go down depending on it. So that's really good data to be able to go, okay, back to this question and go, oh, the third part. Most of them got that right. So most of them could probably see that y was bigger than x, and most of them got y, but why didn't they get x? Oh, because it's quadratic formula. It's a little tougher. So now I need to go over quadratic formula. So it's really good data to be able to analyze really quickly on what you need to reteach and go over again. Whereas you can see question two, this multiple choice question, 100% of them got it right. So I'm not worried about that topic. Something with text entry or any of the questions, but usually it's text entry. So if I just click on 1.1, which is just that text entry part, I can see it was 2, -2. Uh, Now, this person got it wrong. Oh, they didn't finish. Let me go to somebody that did finish. Okay, so this person finished and they got it wrong. And I can see right here, it tells me they only put 2 when I know it should be 2 negative 2. So I can click on it and you can see the answer is negative 2 comma 2 or 2 comma negative 2. Now, if for some reason a kid put in an answer that is still correct, but a different way that shows up. So these gray, these 2 right here are how I, as the teacher, put in the answer to the question that I expect them to type in. And you can see I put in here, if there's more than one answer, put a comma with no space between it. So if a kid would have came in here and put negative 2 comma space 2, it would have marked them wrong, even though they were right. Now, I can choose to say they didn't follow directions that were right there, they're getting it wrong, or yeah, they didn't follow directions, but they still did the math work right. I'm going to give them credit for it. So what I could do, if I want to give them credit for it, which obviously they're wrong because they only had 2, they need a negative 2. I could come in here up and override, and I can mark it correct. Now you can see right under here it's red as wrong and marked as 2. I'm going to mark it correct. Since grades are now done, I can do that. And when I come down here, now you can see it's marked correct, even though it was just marked with the red X wrong before. And it's got a little exclamation mark. That shows me that, okay, I changed that grade. Now, if, let's just say I was doing that for whatever reason, and then I go through and this person's the only one that did that, and I change my mind, I don't want to give them. So if she was the only one that put a space in between those 2, and got it wrong because of that, and then, okay, no, you were the only one that didn't follow directions. A lot of people did it. I'm just coming up with circumstances here. But if I change my mind and say, nope, you're wrong, I can go back to it, override, and mark it incorrect. And you have to update table after every time you do that. It won't automatically do that. It even tells you override, click update. Once I click update table, you can see here it went back to marking wrong, but the exclamation mark is still there because I changed. But this is what's great about the synergy is there's immediate data. Like I can immediately see, okay, I need to go over that. I don't need to go over whatever this was. Okay. And so on and so forth. So that's what really good. So MC is multiple choice. And these are all the question types. So multiple select. And once again, if you don't remember that, you can hover over that. Now, this, I already graded this. This was all the time and I already graded it. If this was new, you can see there's this pencil right here. It's green because I graded it. There will also be, before you grade it, you will see next to their name, there will be a red pencil that looks just like that right here. You can click on either this red pencil or the red pencil next to their grade, and this means it's a constructed response. This is something I have to grade. Synergy will not grade it for me. So I'll click on that pencil, and now you can see this is her proof or whatever. Now, back in the constructed response one, I said if you don't do a rubric, you have to give them points. So you can see I just came in here and I gave her a half point out of a full point. If there was a rubric, right down here would be the rubric, and I could just click points, or I could still put in a different point value. So what's nice about a rubric is I can just hit that pencil, click the point, and go for it. All of them have a spot where there's feedback, so you can write feedback in there. And then once you're done, you would just hit save score and feedback, and it'll update that chart. Let's see, it updated it. There it goes. And then once, I think this one has 2, if I remember correctly. Yep, here's another one. If you click the pencil at her name, it will take you through both of the ones. When you first do it, it's a red pencil right next to your name. If you click on that, it will take you through that student's every constructed response in that test they have to. If you just click on the one for that question, then it's just that question. But when I did save score and feedback, if I was originally grading this when it was red pencil, when I hit save score and feedback for the first one, it would take me to her next one automatically. It wouldn't take me back to the table right away. So that's how you would grade a constructed response. And once again, if you had a rubric in there, you could just click the score instead of put in a number. But once again, this is, and I believe, if I remember correctly, um, that it automatically defaults to this where you can see their scores here. If I can't remember what it defaults to, it might default to this where I can see her scores, but I don't see anything like what her answers were. And to change that, you can see it was under other options, show responses. That way, that makes it easier for me to see why she got it wrong. So, usually the first student, I'll have to click on all of them that they got it wrong and, see what it is. But like just back to number one, I can see that number one was supposed to be 2, -2. I know she got it wrong, so I don't have to go in there and double check that. Whereas if I go here and I don't have those responses, yes, it's not as long and it's a little bit easier to see all of them at once, but I don't know why she got that wrong. Why is hers wrong and hers isn't? So then I would have to click on and double check. So that's why I like putting on the show responses. That way I can kind of do a quick grade and make sure there's no mistakes or anything like that on my part, on Synergy's part, and anything like that. But if you're not concerned about that, like if it were all multiple choice, once again, if it is multiple choice, what's nice about this is, let me see, where's the multiple choice? I guess 100% of them got it right. But if I didn't have 100% get it right, I could look and see what they choose. Did they choose A? Here's a multiple select. Here, the A, they didn't choose anything. But, um, why did they get them wrong? And kind of dive into it that way. But once again, if you don't want that much, you just want to know how they did on each question, then this is really nice to go, okay, number one, they got 62.5%, 100%, 90%. And it's a little easier to see that 14, these gray ones are all part of number 14. These gray ones are all part of 15 and stuff like that. So it's a little easier to see. But once again, that's great data analysis to be able to know where to circle around with your kids. Now, if you wanted to give a kid a retake, you would just click that button for retake. And then you would have to go back to the accessibility in schedule details or the red box and make sure they have access to it. And then they'll be able to retake. If you do give them a retake, you they will it will wipe everything out once they start. So as soon as, like, I can click retake right now and this kid doesn't have access, so I can still see everything she did. Once I give her access and she starts, all her previous answers are wiped out. Nothing is saved. So it's like starting totally fresh. So that's a retake. Um, as well with, oh, sorry, I had a little brain fart there. If I'm grading this per class, like if I just want to grade one class at a time, let's say I have a first hour class, a first, third, and seventh hour class, and let's say my prep is fifth hour. Well, I want to grade first and third during my prep today. When I come in, I'm going to have all these kids that haven't taken it yet, so I'm going to see blank bars. So instead of doing that, I can click which sections I want to grade, and it'll put them right together. That way, I'm only grading that class at one time. So that is a nice. Or if I want to see them all, I can do all. So that is something that makes it, like I said, because if having these blank boxes bothers you because they didn't do it or whatever yet, because you're doing it in between some of the classes you've assigned it to, you can just do class by class. Now the you don't have to do it class by class if you're just trying to write down grades. Or you don't have to write down grades. You can if you want. You don't have to. Once I'm done grading this test, I would click. Actually, I'm going to go back to that other test because this test isn't in the gradebook. When I'm done with that test, when I'm done grading that test, this test is in the gradebook. I've done grading it, and you once again you can do this per class or for every class that's taking it. I would just come over here to this box. And I would click that box, and you can see it highlights all those kids. Once I highlight every kid, and it'll even highlight the kid that didn't take it, but just nothing will go into the gradebook. You'll hit connect update gradebook, and it'll go right into your gradebook. Now this is already in there, so that's why you see all classes. Do you want to update them? I'm going to go back to the other one here in a second to show you what it'll look like if it hasn't. But this will go automatically into the gradebook. That's why when I said naming your assessment, this is what they're going to see at the top of the gradebook. So if I go to my gradebook, I'm in the honors. There's that Unit 8. You can see GUHSD Honors Unit 8 Test A. It goes right into the gradebook. Okay. Now, when you are doing a fresh new one, that like this one, it's going to prompt you your choices on how to put it in. So I'm going to click on Students, Connect Upgrade. Now, what it'll ask you what assignment type, so what part in your gradebook do you want it in? I'm just putting it on homework. Now, you can do raw score or you can do percentage. It is totally up to you how you do it. I always do raw score, but some people like it as a percentage. Percentage shows you what their grade was. So, like this student got 85.29%. If I do percentage, it's going to show that. I do raw score, it shows 14.5 out of 17. It is 100% up to you how you want to do that. Just keep in mind that, let's just say you later want to give bonus points to that test or change something about it or anything in the grade book. For me, it's easier. Like, let's say I graded this tonight. They took it today. I graded tonight. Tomorrow we're going over it. And as we're going over it, I realized there was a wrong answer that shouldn't have been there, or maybe I didn't teach them that for whatever reason or whatever, and I need to give them a point back. If I keep it as raw score, I can just say, okay, instead of it, I can just make it like this student got 14.5 out of 17. If I did that, I can just change it to 15.5 out of 17. Whereas if it's a percentage, I would have to figure out what 15.5 out of 17 is and then change that score in the grade book. So that's why I always use raw score, but you can use percentage. It's easier for parents to see and understand what the score is, but it's totally up to you. Once again, normal extra credit, not for grading. You can put the date on it, and grading period doesn't matter. And then once you do that and hit confirm, it will automatically go to your grade book. Now the nice thing is once that's in there, if like all these people that have blank bars that haven't taken it yet, it'll put nothing in there. It won't put a zero, it won't put missing, it'll just leave it blank. Once the kid takes it, I could just come to that one student, click it, and hit connect update gradebook, and that was the other screen you saw of mine where it's going to update it. It'll put just that kid's in the gradebook into that same thing. So that's very nice about it. It's in your gradebook in 2 seconds. The data is very nice, but that's how to grade and put into your gradebook a synergy assessment.